asking you for permission, but hi everyone. Welcome to MacX Korea Developer Lab with Salesforce. And before we begin today's event, I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered today. And my name is Anna. I'm in the position of Defense Director at Monash Association of Coding, which we call MAC for short. And thank you all so much for coming today. I know it's week 11 and you're all busy with assessments, but it's going to be an awesome workshop today that I hope you enjoy. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce our club and who we are. So we're Monash Association of Coding, and we're a club that focuses on imparting valuable technical skills and industry relevant experience to our students. And our ultimate goal is to foster the programming culture at Monash and provide a collaborative setting for students to do projects and learn from one another and build skills that are applicable in the industry. And we do that by delivering technical workshops like this one. Don't forget to check us out on our social media, which we'll share in the chat. But now I'll be passing on to to Salesforce to get started with the workshop.
Okay, thank you, Anna. We did have Elle was kind of doing the intro to start with, and had a bit of a hiccup there. So, Christine, quick check. Do you want to do the introduction, or do you want me to do it just to get us going?
I don't mind. It's up to you. I can share my screen, and if you want to kick off, and we can all pitch in.
Okay, let's do that.
And it's not letting me share my screen.
Is there like a permission with our side?
Let me try again.
Should be allowed.
I think I can share my screen.
Oh, okay.
Should be able to share. Everyone's got the permission to share screen.
I think it's because I haven't allowed Zoom to to access my screen. Let me try that.
The world of corporate machines where you can't do anything.
Yeah, Aidan, have you allowed Zoom?
To share your screen or audio with any application, you have to opt into it. For all these Salesforce laptops.
Let's see if it's working.
Just hasn't loaded maybe yet.
Blank at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Can you see my screen? I think I shared.
There we go. There we go.
It's all good now.
Yeah.
Can you see the full screen?
Yeah. It's not full screen.
I think you need to press the present, and then it'll be fine. Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this my screen or Stefan's screen?
It's mine, I think.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, if you can see the whole lot, then maybe I make a start. So thanks everyone for joining today, and it's exciting to talk to you all. We'll do a bit of an introduction about Salesforce ourselves. What does it mean to be sort of a technical resource, a developer in the Salesforce ecosystem? And hopefully you get a good background, and we'll go into some hands-on exercises as well. So who do you have on the call with you today? It would be Aidan as a program architect, Christine. Elle can't make it, or she'll join later. So she was actually trying to do the introduction, but we'll cope without her, and won't tell her that we did great. Nitin as well, and myself, Stefan. So we'll do a quick round of introduction after a while, and basically move on through the agenda, if that's okay. So what we want to do today, quick introduction and introduce ourselves, as I said. I want to give you a bit of a background what the Salesforce. We'll keep it reasonably brief, but please free to ask any questions, pop it into the chat, or just let us know. Then talk a bit about the Salesforce as a company. What does it mean to be a developer? What's the career path? So what are some of the avenues? And that's probably very exciting for you to get an understanding of that. Happy to share our own experiences and paths as well, so you get a bit of a background, from the horse's mouth. Then we get into hands-on. So we picked up some sort of hands-on modules, which are a good but steep learning journey to get into the Salesforce ecosystem. So hopefully that will resonate. Do the group learning around that, and then finish off with some questions and answers. But before we go all there, let's start again by thanking you to join today, showing your interest in Salesforce as a company, as a platform. So we look at lots of technology today, and it's truly exciting to sort of look at the next generation and what you can sort of contribute, or like feel your energy and excitement to kind of reaching out what is out there. So I think it's awesome that you joined today. And sort of prepare yourself for the next step in sort of your development journey. Let me start by going into the Salesforce economy as it's a technology, it's a company. What does it really mean? It's it's growing since 1999, and it's become a massive company really with global footprint. So that means there's an economy around it. So what makes it attractive for career starters is it's a very successful platform. It's a very successful company, and there's a tremendous global impact. So there's jobs related to it. There sort of new industries being formed around it, and it's relatively often assessed like how many jobs and opportunities are really in the ecosystem. So when you look at Salesforce, yes, it's one particular company, but it's a massive ecosystem. There are like community groups around it, enablement. It's really a global connectedness which exists there. So it's way beyond a single company. And the economy or the economical impact is just tremendous. Looking at the numbers there, you can see $1.2 trillion. It's really a massive impact. And sort of to become part of this journey, so I would encourage all of you have a look at the APAC talent programs and what is there, where Salesforce reaches out, creating a connection with like people like you, really, to really get an idea, about Salesforce, the ecosystem, what it takes. So I highly encourage you to bookmark or have a look at this link. I'm trying to copy this one and also put it in the chat so you can refer to that later.
I've checked in the chat.
Oh, you did already? Okay, thank you. And so I don't have to do everything in parallel. And so let's get going. And one of the items, so just go to the next one, is we'll have quizzes along the way. So it's not meant to be a monologue. We would like to make this a bit more interactive, and throughout the sessions we might spray a little bit of information here and there, and we'll also ask you a couple of questions, and the first person getting it right will get a prize. So it's as simple as that. If you're the first one putting the right answer into the chat, Aidan will monitor that, and we'll take your name down, and you'll be the happy winner of some Salesforce swag. And I think we started with the first question, and I might have given it away earlier. So if you were listening carefully, let's get into it. And the first question would be, when was the year Salesforce was founded?
Stephen, we are looking at the presenter view.
Yeah, we can see that the solution.
How true.
It says 19.
Oh, no. The fastest typer got it then.
Okay, so can you still see my presenter view? You can't anymore?
No, all good now.
Okay, then let's go to the next one. That's just a recap. So whoever could type fastest, one. Next one. Name. I think Aiden, maybe you go through those slides.
Yeah, sure. So just name one programming language that Salesforce supports. And this is probably an extremely hard problem. So whoever's best at alt-tabbing into Google is probably going to get this one. Ooh,
We have an
Apex.
answer.
Good one, yeah. So if you go to the next slide, the two programming languages that Salesforce Core supports are actually Apex, which is very similar to Java, and JavaScript as well for front-end components. Other than programming languages, we also have HTML templating for front-end components as well. Cool, nice one, Alden. Cool, and the next question is, which city will the new Salesforce Tower be built? So the original Salesforce Tower is actually in San Francisco, and it is an enormous building. It has a screen that actually wraps around the entire sort of tip of the building. Yes, it is Sydney, nice one. Cool.
I think Nitin, that's over to you.
Yeah, so if you haven't already done it, go to the trailhead.salesforce.com and create a Trailblazer profile. And after you create the profile, it should automatically kick on a hands-on org. If not, go to your profile section on the top right corner and click on hands-on org. And you will see that it's creating a new playground, which you can log in later. And after a couple of minutes, it should show it completed. And then you will be able to launch the org from there and open Salesforce. So keep it handy. Once we go to the hands-on org, we can directly jump onto the created org and do the exercises there and module on the Trailhead. So really simple, shouldn't take more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do everything. And Aidan has put a link earlier on that was the first chat.
Do you know, pop the link in the chat again, Nitin, maybe?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you for that. All right, let's go into the second section. Again, please feel free to pop any questions into the chat box as we go along, or ask any questions directly. So why Salesforce? I mean, we'll introduce ourselves. I think, did we have a slide coming up for this, introducing ourselves? I think it's still coming. But before we get there and you get to know us a little bit more, is like, why would you consider working for Salesforce? And we can, to share some experiences there. First and foremost is one of the best places to work in Australia, and we'll get to a couple of details why that is the case, and it's quite consistently the case. And so let me sort of give an overview here. Is Salesforce has a really strong mission as a company, and it's really kind of purpose driven. So when you consider where you might want to work in the future, yes, there is, you want to work with cool tech, you want to sort of be in an innovative company. But what is also really relevant, at least from my perspective, is that you can actually use business, like it's not only for profit, it's a great platform for change, because you're at the edge of something, you work with lots of other companies, you have lots of connections, that is commercial as well as to politics, and you can really drive that influence to create change in the world. So you can define new business models, you can define how you want to go about business, and really have a tremendous impact. And here's just 4 areas kind of shown. It's by no means complete, but for COVID-19, the pandemic hitting, and software and technology companies really, one main driver of change these days. We have the session on Zoom. Usually we'll be doing this in person, preferably, but these kind of changes, all that kind of really played out. And Salesforce used its position and its assets to really help where possible. So to some extent, some examples are given here. Mark Benioff, our one of the founders of Salesforce, was very passionate in the US to source PPE or protective equipment for helping health workers in the US, where it was really hard hit in the beginning of the pandemic. The curves in the US were particularly bad. But more so as a technology company, what we're good at, we're creating innovations, new products. So creating work.com to bring people safely back to work, or the vaccine cloud, like solutions to support the rollout of vaccine worldwide, is something Salesforce as a technology company is very good at, and that's where efforts will really spend. Second pillar is equality. It's something Salesforce is very proud of, to really be a driver for change in that space. So as an example, Salesforce reviews every year the so-called pay gap between genders, same role, same work, same pay. Whenever there's any misalignment detected, that gap will be filled, and actual money will be spent to make sure that there's no gender pay gap at all. Then, of course, looking after the environment, various initiatives to really making sure Salesforce is an internet company, having lots of data centers, that's all been offset. As when you fly, you can pay a bit extra to have your carbon offset. Salesforce is doing the very same, and beyond, making sure that there is no environmental impact, or it's hedged as much as possible and beyond. And examples of that is the 1 trillion tree challenge being really a motivator there to make sure that the 100 million trees are planted, supported, paid for by 2030 to really counteract the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And one example, again, back coming to the product, is Sustainability Cloud. So it's kind of a solution from Salesforce to support companies to track methodology. They have a really strong methodology, their carbon footprint, and do really the accounting and help them with that challenge, because that's quite tricky, really doing the accounting across the board, like from your buildings, from all the equipment you might have, to bring this all together in one place and do clear reporting on it, and also really driving this to improving it over the long term. Really have the accounting and the motivation there. And last but not least, philanthropy is a big part of the organization. I volunteer, and I get 56 hours a year and more if I want to spend with a non-for-profit of my choosing. So I'm personally helping Fair Share. That's a non-for-profit organization in Abbotsford, where I help them to prepare meals for people who struggle to put food on the table. But Salesforce is also donating our product. So they have a Salesforce instance to manage their volunteer shifts and help their operations in the kitchen, really, and bringing drivers and cooks together and do the shift planning around that, but also helping them to create donations or collecting donations from donors. And I'm helping them with their Salesforce instance as well. And this is kind of an overview of how this can play out. There's a high motivated, engaged employee footprint means Salesforce is generally well regarded in the employer market. So we have very often being like highly ranked on best place to work, as mentioned earlier. Like Salesforce has been in the top 2 for the last 5 years running, but is also coined the innovator of the decade, is in the Fortune 50 or 10, like always very highly regarded best place to work, and very sustainable, like really an innovative place to work, whilst growing and having huge opportunities due to that growth in the market, meaning lots of employees, lots of markets are being addressed, meaning you have a really good wide ecosystem to explore where you want to work or what you want to do in your career. And with that, I'm passing over to Christine.
Nitin first.
Nitin, sorry.
Sure. Yes. So what is a trailblazer? So trailblazer is who works through challenges or search for the ways to make a difference in the community and who is committing to help others. So trailblazers are lifelong learners. And in terms of Salesforce, as far as Salesforce economy is concerned, anybody can be a trailblazer, from admin to developer to student to CEOs. And in terms of numbers, across the 90 countries, there are 1,300 community groups. For example, there is a Melbourne admin community group who meet regularly once in a month and discuss admin side of things of Salesforce. Similar, there is a developer group in Melbourne and so on. There are 1,300 groups across the world. And in total, there are 11 million trailblazers. And let's take an example of Brian Owens, who had earlier limited professional and financial growth in retail and sales job. Then he made a resolution to make a career in Salesforce. He started reskilling with Trailhead, which is the learning platform from Salesforce, which is free to join. And you can do the theory as well as practical challenge there. And in addition to Trailhead, Brian started going to the Trailblazer community groups. And then in early 2020, he earned his first Salesforce admin certification. And through the community connection, he scored an interview. Then he started working as a Salesforce business analyst. And now he has 4 Salesforce certification and almost 200 Trailhead badges. Brian now teaches Salesforce to the students in historical Black colleges and university and lead study groups. So there are so many people like Brian and so many Trailblazers who are providing service to the community. And if you want to read more about Brian, I will put a link in the chat so you can read more about Brian. If we can move to the next slide, we can discuss how Salesforce is helping the companies. So Salesforce is touching every industry and every type of customer there is. So from B2B to B2C customer, all the different type of companies are using Salesforce for their digital transformation. And as we have seen in the last year, lots of companies are going through the transformation. So for example, let's take an example of public sector. The government agency to provide the vaccine to the different citizens or different group of citizens, Salesforce is helping them in the vaccine management. So Salesforce is working across 6 countries and 43 states to deliver 30 million vaccines. So this is because of the Salesforce being in the cloud, we could scale, and in less than a year after COVID hit, we have created this vaccine management. Similarly, the retail industry is also experiencing a shift. As we might have seen, is that lots of people are moving online instead of choosing to buy offline, and that's also due to that, the retail company also have to go through the digital transformation. And no matter what industry is, Salesforce is helping them across different type of industries. Can move to the next slide, Christian.
Thanks, Nitin and Stefan. So we've been talking about digital transformation, but what is digital transformation? The thing is that we have probably been living it from day one. I mean, digital transformation has been happening probably for the last 20 years. And I don't know how old you guys are, but maybe some of you are just around that age. So digital transformation, if you all remember, way back when the World Wide Web actually started, when Google actually made everything searchable on the search engines, people can actually just type in anything and you find the answers to anything. That's what we used to call Cloud 1.0. That's when Amazon was able to put a marketplace in, all the Amazons, you can shop online, go online, find anything you want, and things gets delivered to you. But as we move through, that's probably in the past 5 or so, maybe 5 to 10 years, we move into the cloud 2.0, which is all around social and mobile, where Facebook and Apple probably led a lot of that. And you're probably all very familiar with Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these different applications where you share your social lives and also get all the latest updates, where you do it through all the feeds, push and touch, and do a lot of things on the mobile phones and mobile devices as well. But all that has been happening in our day-to-day lives without us really thinking about digital transformation. But it was really the pandemic, probably for the past year, we realized how much digital transformation actually means to the business. So even though us in general have been living in the digital age for quite some time, but having to actually work, think about all the big companies that used to go to work every day, or even uni, where you used to go to classes every day to attend a class. This past year has really transformed a lot of the ways that people are thinking about digital enablers for us to meet virtually and for people to work, buy, sell, do everything you need to do online. So this is where Salesforce is reading the front foot in Cloud 3.0, where we're calling it success from anywhere. So we really want to ensure that technology such as Slack, Zoom, and all the hypercares, all the different channels that they are available are in place for staff, employees, students, everyone that's working together to collaborate easily through all the channels, and also having all the right data information on their fingertips. Through video sharing, through Internet of Things, through chat, through Einstein bots, all the different AIs that we could put in place. Next slide, please, Stefan. This is just a general, I'm not really going to pitch you any Salesforce products, but this is really our view of the Salesforce Customer 360. We know that for any businesses, and even for education sectors, customers or students are in the center of everything we do. So CRM being a customer relationship management program system, we really want to ensure all the aspects are covered around the customers, such as being able to sell them products, being really able to understand their experiences, being able to service them. So once they buy a product, what are the experiences after the product sale, when they need support, who do they go to get help, some of the marketing and commerce aspects, and not to forget about all the analytics and integrations into all the different systems. A big area that Salesforce has been focusing on is really around intelligence, around customers. So what can we learn around the customers using things around sentiments and intents through their social interactions? So we can do social listenings to what the customers are really saying about the products or the systems. And they also do the same with employees as well. So a company is only as successful as their employees. So a company might also put in places around what their employee sentiment is to really understand where the company direction should be heading. So this wheel of Customer 360 is where we see Salesforce really leads the market by having a complete 360 view around the customer or employees. So this is really just a general overview. I believe we're heading into the next slide with more quizzes.
Cool. So can someone please name one of the programming languages that's a first-class supported language? That means you don't have to install anything to use it by the Heroku platform. There are a lot of them, so this... Yeah, nice, Java. That was an easy one. So there are actually, I think, almost 10 first-class languages that's supported by Heroku as a first-class language. So you can actually write Node, Ruby, Java, PHP, Python, Go, Scala, or Clojure, and all of those will work with Heroku. And then obviously, you're not limited to that because it's a platform product. You can write in a variety of other languages that are supported through build packs, but these are the ones that are supported directly by the product. Next one's around Slack. Does anyone want to take a stab at how many professional developers use Slack? And this one's according to the Stack Overflow developer survey. I'm going to see. The correct answer is B. 57%. So that's actually a lot of developers that use Slack at work. Thought that was a really interesting stat myself, but it makes sense having worked at some tech companies that it's basically the standard communications platform. So it's exciting that that Salesforce now have Slack as part of the family. And we've got one more question. How many people use the Trailhead learning platform worldwide? Nice one. So the correct answer here is C. We actually have 2.8 million. It's probably more now because it's always changing. But yeah, there's over 2.8 million people using Trailhead to learn. And since the start of April, I ran the report yesterday actually. Since the start of April this year alone, there have been almost 5 million badges completed on the platform just in the last couple of months of the last month.
Yeah, there was a huge uptake. People working from home, having or that can sort of upskill yourself from home. It was a huge driver, absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be very cool to kind of look at the trend on that for sure.
All right, let's get into what does a Salesforce career look like, and we're focusing a little bit on development and also like a developer role, sort of more the technical aspects today, based on the based on the interest in this group. So we should have probably done this earlier, but we get to the introduction now because it's good for you to sort of get to know the people you'll be interacting with and the practical sort of hands-on challenges. And Aidan, take it away. Quick intro, who you are, what are you doing? And yeah, tell us all about it.
Yeah, sure thing. So my role is a program architect with Salesforce, basically embedded in some of our largest customers' most complicated projects and programs. Specifically, I have a focus area in DevOps and I guess complex programming. So usually I will tend towards going to customers that have larger development teams and squads and help them use the tools effectively and have really good people and process around DevOps. In the past, I've worked at Salesforce customers and also Salesforce consulting partners, Deloitte and realestate.com.
Christine, don't be shy.
Christine,
Jumping, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
thought I just heard a pause. Hi, I'm Christine. So I'm one of the solution architects in Salesforce. And what I typically do at work is I work with the large customers, the enterprise customers, to design a solution, end-to-end solution that would meet their requirements. So I actually started my career as a developer for around 7 years and moved more into a consulting type of role to really architect and design the different solutions. But I still work closely with developers and testers day to day to really deliver what the customers really want and make sure that we make them successful. Nitin?
Yep. So, hi, this is Nitin. I'm a technical architect at Salesforce. And my role will be quite similar to Christine, that I work for the large client and complex transformation projects, but I focus more on the technical side, more hands-on on the platform. I also started as a developer and then moved into consulting. Before Salesforce, I have worked with small partners, which was called system partners, and there was another Square Peg before I joined Salesforce. And as a technical architect, I make sure that the solution, we use the best practices for the technical aspects of the implementation and use as much as the out of the box or the standard feature, not customize too much of the platform.
Thank you, Nitin. And myself, I'm Stefan. I'm a program architect, same as Aidan. I'm senior, so I'm just a bit older than him. That's what it's all about. And I'm also working with our bigger companies. I'm currently actually assigned to Monash University. So I'm working with the eSolutions group at Monash to like really implement Salesforce. You might have come across a couple of those solutions, like My Application or My App is a solution built on Salesforce where you might have submitted your application to study at Monash, as well as Monash Connect. So when you phone up, walk in, there is a student service solution built on Salesforce. Like any interaction will be tracked on Salesforce, part of the customer relationship management. Your interactions, like another agent would know what was talked about the last time you walked in. So that's all facilitated by Salesforce. And we're all architects here. So what does it mean? We've usually, as you heard, all had a sort of a technical upbringing after we graduated. I was also a software engineer and learned the rigor around how to write good code, how to design in a technical domain. And as you kind of gain more experience, then to sort of elevate yourself to an architect sort of position where you can sort of tackle the bigger, more complex problems in an enterprise scope. But happy to take any questions. We'll have a couple of slides on, what does a role really entail. And with that, I pass it over to Christine.
Thanks, Stefan. Would you be able to actually click on the link, and we'll also share that link in the chat as well?
On this, I don't know if I can do that.
Okay, I will put the link in the chat, yeah. Yes, and see if we can bring that up, just instead of me trying to take over the screen share. Thank you. But what we have here is actually a page on Trailhead on what the Salesforce developer career could look like. And on the left-hand side there, while Stefan is bringing it up, you can also see that there are also different career paths that you might look into. So you might choose to become a Salesforce developer. You might also look into path around the consultant, administrator, or become an architect like one of us. So on the left-hand side, just imagine that you can sort of clicking into each of the profiles to read more around it. On the website itself, it actually has a lot of good information around what it means to become a Salesforce developer, and if it actually suits your style. So what they typically look for is that, do you love cracking the code on tricky problems? Do you really like to find the best answers that's normally the simplest and the most elegant? It also describes around the average salary that a Salesforce developer could typically get, and also the number of jobs. So it's 89,000 new jobs. That's in 2018. I'm sure it's actually gone up now in the past year. But what we know is that Salesforce developers are so in demand. This is why Louise actually really wanted us to be in this session, is because we are constantly looking for new blood, best developers in the world to be able to join the company. Were you able to bring up the website, Stefan? Sorry, that's still just showing the,
you can. Yes.
The slide.
I think you can open in this.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep, I wasn't sharing my screen. I was sharing a window. So yep, sorry about that. So yes, you can kind of navigate through here and please look at the role. And if I go to the developer, so you get sort of an overview, you can see what sort of the salary expectations are, how many jobs are in the ecosystem. But I think
the general skills that recruiters look for, and the technical and specialized skills that recruiters look for. Things around JavaScript, Apex, Lightning Web Components, so-called SOSL, those are all the query languages, and web services and system integration. Definitely object-oriented programming is all the basic concepts. So these are good indicators of whether you think you can actually fit into this profile. It also goes into a typical day in the life of a Salesforce developer or any other role that you choose to be. It goes through what that day actually looks like in the morning, the midday, and after lunch. And also it goes through the different, read the real profiles of developers and how they've actually come about becoming one. If you scroll down a little bit, please, Stefan. There we go. So just some resources if you like to have a look, after the session. This website actually has a lot of good information. And we'll jump back into the next slide, please. Which is around the journey to become a CTA. And what's a CTA, Stefan?
Well, a CTA is what we call a Certified Technical Architect. So what we kind of to portray is here, you might start as a developer, and sort of what does it mean to start as a developer? What's kind of your learning path? And in particular, if you're like sort of technically minded and that's your specialty, you want to grow in that domain. Here we're just showing what sort of the technical pinnacle is to mature and kind of advance in your technical skills on the Salesforce platform. So what's shown here what we call the technical architect pyramid, and you can see sort of the skills and expertise you will acquire along the way to become a really successful architect in that domain. So just to call out a couple of items here. So there's different domains. You're not just developing code and config. So you kind of look at development aspects. You also learn about declarative things like how you can kind of configure some of the low code or no code solutions on the platform, because it's inclusive from that perspective. But you'll also look at other aspects which are definitely required for a successful, scalable enterprise solution. And that is like identity. How do you authenticate and authorize your users? How do you make it work in a complex scenario in an enterprise where you have multiple functions involved, and data visibility, sharing or not, who can see what, becomes very critical, because you're really handling financial transactions and the like, and that has to be protected. Then you look at some of the other aspects like integration. How do you make Salesforce data integrate with maybe your accounting software and the like? Then you look at identity and access, as I said, and towards Aidan's specialty, like development lifecycle. How do you deploy your solutions? What's your DevOps process? How do you make it all work? And basically those kind of specialties all come together. So there's a vast domain to really master, and based on those kind of two pillars, you then become an application architect. You can define solutions, or a system architect. You can really tackle the more technical aspects around it to make the solution really robust. And once you got all that sorted, as simple as that, then you become a technical architect, and that is a very hard certification to attain, because it will actually require you to work through a scenario over a couple of hours and then present it to a various team board. So you can really get a real-time scenario. You have to work through that solution, present it to really established architects in the ecosystem. They're usually internationally distributed, so you really get to talk and present to the experts. And if you cut the mustard, you become a technical architect yourself. And there are less than 1,000 of them worldwide. So it's a very small group, and is definitely, once you've ticked that box, you definitely well regarded in the ecosystem. So it's an awesome journey. It's very structured, and you get a lot of support along the way, but it's a very rewarding experience from what I've heard. So we're all sort of along that journey, especially if we're kind of technical architects and really want to go deep in that domain. And not everyone is the same, and not everyone wants to kind of go really deep. One item we want to call out here as well is that Salesforce, being such a large company, over 60,000 employees worldwide, means you can find your right role at the right time. So what we call adventure seekers, or someone who wants to go really deep. The architect pyramid I showed you is definitely going deep. Like you know what you want to do. You want to be a technical expert. You want to write code. And you want to define solutions. Then this is absolutely fine, and you can sort of stick with that domain. But what we also support is people might want to try different areas. So you might be in a sort of technical architect position today, and tomorrow you want to be a customer success manager. What is that? That is someone who's working with our large clients to really see how they're using Salesforce. Or you want to change into our enablement group or partner ecosystem, working with partners like Nitin mentioned earlier. We have partners like implementation partners like Deloitte or PwC or IBM, and they build solutions on Salesforce and other technologies, of course. And you can work with them to kind of support them in their project on Salesforce. So it's a vast area where you can sort of gain expertise, and it's quite rewarding to see different aspects of the company come together. And it's certainly like that generalist path is certainly open as well. And as I said, because Salesforce is fast growing, these opportunities arise every day. So it's very, very easy comparably to kind of change careers and explore new areas as per interest. All right, let's do a stop here, and it's time to kind of do a bit of a stretch, and let's get into the hands-on challenge. So for this one, we have a couple of modules picked up, but I'll hand it over to Nitin because he did the masterwork behind this part.
Okay, so I'll set the context how we are going to do it, and then we will jump into the challenge. So we will divide into, I think, 4 groups, and then each group will work on these trails, what we call, and there are different trails starting with beginner and then moving to intermediate and advanced. I will post a link for the first trail. So what we will do is, after we are divided into different groups, each group will go through these, every member in the group will go through these trails, try their first read through the text and then understand the challenge. Once they understand, we can start doing the challenge in the playground, which we created earlier. And after that, we'll keep discussing, and we will, if anybody is having problem in the group, we will support it, and we will do screen sharing. We will work on those challenges together. I'll just give a brief background of the first module, which is the Get Started with Apex. So Apex, as we heard, is the programming language which is used in Salesforce. The syntax is quite similar to Java, but it is different in few different ways. One of the ways is that it is compiled on the server. So whatever code you write, it is saved on the server. So today we are going to use something called Developer Console, which you can open from the playground. On the right-hand side, you will see a cog, and you can open the Developer Console from there. All the code we will write we are going to use that tool. Of course, you can use Visual Studio Code, and you can add on the plugin in different code editors. But today we are going to keep it simple and just use the Developer Console. But what it does is that whatever you write the code, it keeps that code saved on the servers, and it keeps compiling. So any error, you will see it immediately. And other than that, it supports the object-oriented programming. So it has the class and object structure, if you're already aware of that. If anybody has worked on Java, they will feel right at home. So it is very similar to Java, just few differences that because it is multi-tenant aware. So there are some things which are different, which you work in the collections. And that's when once you break into the groups, you can start going through this module. And once we settle in the groups, you will discuss the challenge, and then everybody can start doing their own challenge. Is there any question we have? Any question on this approach? Okay, I guess now we can divide into groups.
Yeah, I've opened up the breakout rooms now.
All right, see you all in the rooms.
Sai, did you want to join? I don't think we get allocated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but did you want to join? Let me see.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I should join.
You can join room 1 or 4. I think
All right, yeah.
we have no one.
All right, cool.
Pick your pick, and then I'll join the other
Yeah.
one. It's just going to close in 45 seconds.
People are hanging on. They want to stay in their breakout rooms.
Yes. Okay. Everyone should be back now.
Yeah, it kicked us out from the other room.
Awesome. So how did the rooms go? So my room did all 5 challenges. We got to the very end of the module. No, I'm just kidding. How did everyone go? What's kind of, now you can be brutally honest. We haven't done this, kind of jumping straight into Apex development with a group. There was a very strong desire to do, straight into hands-on coding. And yeah, we're just really, really keen to hear, how was it? Bloody overwhelming? Was it just at the right level? Did you really feel like, jumping straight in was really cool? Yeah, just keen to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think our group, we got up to the SOQL queries, and then so far all the challenges seem really straightforward. The tutorials kind of walk you through pretty well, and the hands-on challenges were pretty simple, so that was nice to do.
Yep.
Good to hear.
Good to hear.
What else?
Yeah, our group got through the first challenge as well. I think for the most part, it was just a few syntax errors and things like that. But yeah, we all got there in the end with a bit of debugging help.
Sounds good. What else, observations? How was the experience? Good. If we were to run the session again, is it at the right level? Too easy?
Yeah, I definitely think it's at the right. Yeah, I think it's at the right level, because I know a good few of us have done a little bit of Java or something like that, and that I think gives you the right background knowledge to get right into Apex and start coding some stuff.
All right. How many of you can see yourself maybe given other Trailhead modules a bit of a go?
Trying to finish this one.
Yeah,
sure.
It is a little bit addictive. Once you get a hang of it, you get points, and so be warned. Quite a few Salesforce internal people have maybe you see in my profile, some people have 500-600 of these badges, and it's a lot of time commitment, but it is really an open platform to learn, right? It's not just Salesforce. Many technology providers have these kind of self-learning platforms. You can really, skill yourself up, and people do get jobs based on those credentials. The only item, just to be very frank, you will have all the expertise you need. Very many employers will look for a little bit of practical experience as well, but there isn't much. If you master the Trailhead badges and have really that background knowledge, and really understand what the challenges are doing, then you have really, employable skills.
And I just want to add that these challenges, these badges are quite simple in terms of hands-on, but if you really want to challenge yourself, there are super badges. I posted the link to the super badge for Apex. For even to reach or even to attempt the super badge, you'll have to clear some modules. If you click here right now, you will see there are some prerequisites. You need to complete 4 or 5 modules. After that, you will be able to try this super badge, but this is quite different. This doesn't tell you what to do. This gives you the requirement that this is, let's say you are doing a project, that these are the requirements, some things are vague. And after that, you try to solve that challenge all by yourself. There's no guided help there. This was not on the agenda, but I thought I'll share with the group.
So there's one of the examples Nitin just mentioned. So you kind of have to, you have to go through these kind of prerequisites, and that's kind of, you follow along. It's very much kind of nurtured. Just one of those, modules you just started with. And once you kind of have the theoretical and practical background, you've done it once, then you can attempt to sort of just do this kind of what is a sort of badge. So you can kind of get the pre-work, set up the developer org. You've done that, but then also you get requirements like a use case, and you have to go, and there's no guidance. You just implement it, and gives you a data model and the like. So you need a couple other skills. But then you really go, unit by unit, and then, oops, I've completed. But you kind of have to, every single unit you will then be checked in your org. Have you done the requirement to the specifications? So it's really like a real world example, as close as you can get, I suppose. All right, let's jump back into the deck. What else do we have for today? Again, quick reminder, if you want to stay across the Salesforce Talent Alliance, like really the Salesforce I'm looking after new career starters, please follow that link and make have yourself entered there and stay in touch. And I think with that we're closing today. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope it was a bit of fun getting your hands dirty, learning about Salesforce, the ecosystem, the social impact a company, one of the big IT players can have. And thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for Nitin, Christine, and Aidan to be part of it today.
And I just posted the name of the quiz winners. We'll touch base with Alois to get the prizes.
Awesome. Most important, not to forget. All right, we're open for feedback. So be open. Like don't be shy. Don't be feel like you're rude. Just give it really honest, open feedback. How the session went, what we could improve, what worked, what didn't work. We really want to make this an awesome use of your time. And all that. Thank you very much, and might see you around on campus when I'm at Monash.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you all. See ya.
Yeah.